You are listening to Policybazaar.ae's The Policy Project. We've got you covered.
Term insurance isn't about fearing the worst, it's about ensuring that life goes on for those you love. It's one of the most essential yet overlooked tools in financial planning. Simple hai, affordable hai, and it's powerful. Term life insurance. Term insurance provides peace of mind by offering financial protection when it actually matters the most. So, welcome to another episode of the Policy Project. I'm Sid, your host, and your go-to guide for all things insurance. Or Aj, we're diving into term insurance claims that no one wants to make, but everyone needs to understand. So, from gender gaps in coverage to the power of early detection, we'll unpack it all. What people are claiming for to help our listeners to plan better for their family's secured future. And like always, we're not alone. We have an expert with us. He's Atul Kathuria, business head life insurance at Policybazaar.ae, and he's going to be guiding us about the topic. Atul, welcome to the Policy Project. As always, thrilled to have you on board.
Thank you, Sid.
Okay, ji, so let's dive right in. क्या कहते हो?
Bilkul. Yes, let's do that.
Okay. What do current term life claim trends reveal about today's top health risks? And why does that make term insurance essential financial planning के हिसाब से?
Right. See, one of the very, you can say it's a sad fact or it's just a fact, right? I came across recently is that most of the death claims for term insurance policies are coming in the early 50s. Early 50s, can you imagine? Like most of us would think it would be late 60s or 70s,
Correct.
right? But the average age at a death claim is in the mid 50s, which is shocking, right? Most of us would think by the age of 60, my responsibilities would be done, so I don't really need a term insurance. But believe me, that's not true. If the average is at 52, that means a lot of people are claiming term insurance in 40s, maybe late 30s. So that's what makes having a term insurance really important. In terms of sharing a glimpse of what the most of the reasons are, in men, the largest reason is heart attacks and strokes. Versus in women, the largest reason is cancer.
Oh, okay. So, आपके हिसाब से, what are the most common conditions for which people get death claims, and how should individuals approach lifestyle changes, early detection, and timely coverage planning?
Right. See, for men, as I said, around half of the claims, 50% of these death claims were reported due to a heart attack or a stroke. And for women, around half of them were reported due to cancer. And if you see men and women combined, 3 in every 4 deaths is either due to a heart attack or due to cancer.
Okay.
So these are the main conditions. That is why 2 things get very important. One, obviously, people who are in a sedentary lifestyle, a lot of office work and less physical movement, we need to take care of fitness and our eating habits, which, obviously, there's a lot of talk about these topics these days. We just need to be conscious about that. And secondly, in terms of cancer, right? Because early detection is important. If the detection is early, then the chances of cure is pretty high.
True.
So that is why regular checks, and if at all, you feel anything might not be right, you better go for a check, and periodic checks are very important.
Interesting. Now, you said in the mid 50s is what you were looking at. But with some term life claims, they are being made as early as early 20s ke andar as well. So, how does this reshape the assumption that term life plan is needed later in life?
Yeah, see, we at Policy Bazaar, we have always believed and tried to educate our customers that you should go for a term plan sooner in your life. One, this is a fact that states that early, even in 20s, people are getting death claims. Second, if you buy sooner, your premiums are much lesser.
Correct.
And then thirdly, at a later stage, there are chances of developing any illnesses or health conditions, which again increase your premiums. And in some cases, the insurer might even decline giving you a term insurance policy if your illness is severe, right? So that is why, because of all 3 reasons, it is good to have as early as possible. Good to have the term insurance as early as possible.
Interesting. Okay. And like you were discussing that in men you have higher heart disease claims jo aa rahe hain. In women it's more of cancer. So what do gender specific claim patterns tell us about the need for tailored term insurance plans?
Right. See, again, iterating that In men, about half of them is heart attacks and strokes, and in women, about half of them is due to cancer. So, tailoring term insurance plans would ideally mean you should add adequate riders to your plan. So, if you add a critical illness rider to your plan, as soon as the policyholder is diagnosed with any of these critical illnesses, be it a heart attack, a stroke, or a cancer,
Right.
so the insurance company pays out a lump sum amount, which is the sum assured that you have chosen, as soon as you're detected with that illness.
Right.
So versus a traditional term insurance plan where you have like your family will get the benefits, not you will get the benefit after you are passing away. But in this critical illness plan, you will get the benefits to maintain your lifestyle, any medical expenses that your medical insurance is not covering, and so on. So it's easier for you to maintain your lifestyle and live a better life, right? So that is how adding a critical illness plan is important in terms of maintaining your life.
Okay, so talking about cancer, why does cancer dominate both death and critical illness claims, particularly in terms of women? And what can this teach us about the importance of early planning, ya fir regular checks?
Right. See, cancer is one of the hardest to cure diseases, right? That is why it will reach at a stage where it is critical illness or it can even lead to death. Versus if it is detected early, then the chances of cure are pretty high. That is how, or that is why it is very important that people go for regular checks and periodic checks to get it detected early so that it is curable at that time, right?
Interesting. Very, very interesting and very, very insightful segment indeed. Thank you so much, Atul. As always, you were bang on with your answers. Lekin ab we have to move on to our next segment, which is Ask Away. Yeah, here we take up FAQs by our customers, by our listeners, and we respond to them with the help of our experts. Slide into our DMs on Instagram, follow us on Policy Bazaar UAE, or reach out to us via any of the other social media channels, and we'll try our best to answer your questions in the next episode. Today, however, we shall be taking up questions that we received in our inbox related to term insurance. So, Atul, ready? Chalu kare?
Yes.
Okay, dude. So, सबसे पहले Danny wants to know what are the most useful add-ons that can be clubbed with term life plans for young people? I know you mentioned a couple of them before, but let's go through it again.
See, one of the most important riders, as we discussed, is the critical illness rider. And especially this question is for people with young age, people in young age. So at a younger age, the critical illness premiums are much lesser versus if you buy in your 30s or 40s. So that is why critical illness makes for a very good option. And second, terminal illness rider is also very important. What that does is that if your sum assured is, let's say, 1 million dirhams, and you are diagnosed with a terminal illness, the insurance companies gives you the complete 1 million dirham or a part of it as soon as you're diagnosed with the illness so that you can continue to maintain your lifestyle. And these the terminal illness rider is usually pretty low cost, or it's sometimes even added in your pure play term insurance, right? So these are the two recommendations that I would make.
All right, Danny, we hope you got your answer. The second one is Yusufka, and he's asking, given the fact that heart diseases and cancer are becoming almost like a lifestyle condition, how important is it for both bread earners in the family to opt for term insurance?
Right. See, I would say if there are two people, two earning members in the family, it is important for both of them to have term insurance and the critical illness rider because your lifestyle is now dependent on two incomes. So if one of the income is gone, you need a substitute to provide for your family. That is why for both the family members, it is critical and very important to have the term insurance.
Interesting. All right. Garima का next question है, in a society जहाँ पे conversations about death and disease are often avoided, how can individuals and families be encouraged to proactively discuss their financial preparedness?
Yeah, see, that's a very good question. Even while doing this podcast or this conversation, I feel that, why are we talking about such a sad or a dark topic?
Yeah,
But it is important, right?
true.
If I were to give a lighter example, when you buy a car, you would probably want to buy a car with airbags and not without airbags, even though it costs more, even though it means that you're conscious that accidents might happen, but you still go with airbags, right?
Correct.
So that is as simple as that. You need to talk about these things. You need to be conscious of these things, aware of these things, and avoid being in a bad situation.
All right. And nice analogy about the airbags there.
Thank you.
Okay, last question, Jyoti ka hai. She's asking, should NRIs be taking their term life insurance from UAE या फिर their home country? Since in the case of bigger treatment like cancer and heart disease, people prefer moving to their home countries to be closer to the families, right? So, आपके हिसाब से, what do you say?
Yeah. See, term insurance plans have global coverage, and same do critical illness plans. So if you take a plan in UAE and you were diagnosed with a critical illness and you went back to your home country, the insurance company will pay out the claim in your home country. So no problem with that.
Right.
Same with term insurance.
Okay.
If at all your nominee is making a claim from any country in the world, the insurance company will pay out that claim, right? So first, this is clear that there is no problem or challenge in making a claim from an outside country. Secondly, why I would say it's better to buy a plan in UAE is because UAE currency is much more stable because it's pegged to US dollar, and that is why relatively you will get a better claim, or which will be more suitable to your costs at that time. So that is why I would recommend you should go for a UAE plan.
Well, Jyoti, we hope you got your answer. All right, Ji. Thank you so much, Atul. And with this, it brings us to the end of this segment. But don't go just yet. If any of the other listeners have any questions about finance, about insurance, then simply ask away. DM us on Instagram, follow us at Policy Bazaar UAE, or reach out to us via any of the other social media channels, and we'll try our best to answer your questions in the next episode. For now, though, I hope we're all set with our knowledge regarding term insurance. We'll meet again in the next episode with more informative and more insightful content along with our experts. Thank you so much, as always, Atul. Wonderful to have you on board for the Policy Project and this conversation.
Thank you, Sid.
All right, Ji. Thank you so much. That's it for today's episode, everyone. See you in the next one. Till then, take care and stay tuned.
You were listening to Policybazaar.ae's The Policy Project. We've got you covered.